All right, guys, welcome back. The morning after, right? Depending on where you are, obviously, the afternoon after. The Rams lost last night, 24-23 to the Detroit Lions. Tough game. Won't get too much into it because we are talking about what happens now. Okay, what comes after this? What is next? Because the fact of the matter is that there's still stuff to do. There's stuff to talk about. Um, they're ahead of schedule. I mean, let's just call it like it is. The Rams are currently ahead of schedule, and I'll just say this right now. Really proud of this team. Really proud of the job. I think this is maybe Sean McVay's best job coaching in his career. But let's just talk about it. Obviously, we know what's happening. Rams are going to sign some futures contracts, guys that are on the practice squad. They come, basically they revert over to the 90-man roster, right? The offseason roster. So that is what's going to be happening. We'll also be finding out whether or not Raheem Morris stays with the Rams as the defensive coordinator or he goes and becomes a head coach. We'll find out who replaces him. We'll find out other things. So definitely some stuff to monitor as time goes on here. But the Rams are in the off season now. They're in draft season. We're not going to get too much into the draft. Just know I have the picks right here. The Rams would have a first, a second, a third round compensatory should Raheem Morris get hired, a fifth rounder, just the regular fifth rounder, and then a fifth rounder from the Steelers for the Kevin Dotson trade, which they swapped fourth and a fifth. A fifth round compensatory pick for Baker Mayfield, a sixth round compensatory pick for Matt Gay, a sixth rounder for Nick Scott, and a sixth rounder for Ashawn Robinson. So that's where they sit on that. Picks are good, right? Again, not bad at all. They have plenty of picks. They just drafted 14 players in this past draft. They could definitely end up with another 14 player draft if they wanted to go that route. You could trade down a few times. It worked out for them. They have 3 picks in the round that they acquired Puka Nacua in and Kyron Williams. So we'll see what ends up happening there. But all in all, we'll get into draft content at a later date when I've done more research. I have not gone into draft season yet. Right now, we're talking about the off season. We're talking about who the Rams could sign. We're talking about who the Rams could bring back, how they could save some money. So that's where I'm at. Now, this is Spotrac.com for those of you who don't know. So shout out to them. They have the Rams at $48 million in cap space. That's current. So they could have, a restructure here. Stafford gives them about $68 million if they restructure his deal. Understand this, if they were to do that, that's a base salary restructure. They could do some other things with moving numbers around and whatnot. But for the most part, by them doing that, they are kicking the can down the road, essentially. So it's harder to get out of a contract if you restructure it, right? But at the same time, who cares? I mean, there's not a quarterback in the world that I would want over Matthew Stafford right now. He just played the best game of the season in the most important position. So I'm not looking to move on from him anytime soon. And I think, at 36, which he'll be turning soon, I think people are underestimating. He has a lot more than you think in the tank. So that's all I'll say about that. So that saves them close to $20 million. We get him at $68 million in cap space. Cooper Kupp's an interesting one. Okay. Fell off a little bit this year due to injury. How does he respond next year? I think he'll respond well. If they wanted to and they felt comfortable, they could save, about $9 million in cap space, free that up with a restructure of Cooper Kupp, gets him to $77 million. Havenstein, that's not really going to help. It would get them, $2 million there, but not really a big deal there. Tyler Higbee's an interesting one. Tyler Higbee, I believe, is going to end up with a torn ACL when it's all said and done here. That's what they fear. We're waiting for the results. Dirty hit. Let's just call it like it is. Kirby Joseph dove into his knee, helmet first, did the same thing to TJ Hawkinson. One time, okay. twice in a month. The guy's a dirty player. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. So wishing Higbee well. I do think this really does potentially affect their plans. So that's something to keep in mind. So Tyler Higbee there. I don't know if they can do a restructure with Higbee because first off, it's not going to save much. And second, they might have to move on from him at some point soon. So then you go down here, there's really no other restructure options. There's 36 guys under contract. So, I mean, let's talk about it. You're at 77 million in cap space. You're feeling pretty good, right? Well, now what we can do is we can go and add free agent. And let's just say we'll give Dotson. Obviously, the numbers don't have to because this is a cap hit. So while it might be 17 AAV, which is average annual value, you might be able to get Dotson on a cheaper cap hit, which is great. Kevin Dotson is 27 years old. He plays right guard for the Los Angeles Rams. In case you didn't know, he was awesome this year. Okay, very similar to Austin Corbett. I would say he had a better year than Corbett, at least as a run blocker. Corbett was really good in pass pro, but I don't think the Rams can spare any expense in bringing him back. So let's just say the Rams figure out a way to bring him back. And I mean, they'll probably get involved with the void years. Let's just say this ends up being a 10 million cap hit for just 2024. That puts them down to 67 based on the restructures of Kupp and Stafford. So $67 million they still have left over. Then let's just say they bring back Ahkello Witherspoon and they have him at a cap hit of $4 million. Does it mean he's getting $4 million per year? No, but in 2024, the cap hit will be $4 million. Now you're at $63 million. You've brought back Dotson and Witherspoon. So you have your cornerback, you have your guard, and I don't know how long these contracts could be. Ahkello could be looking at, a potential 3-year, $30 million deal, something like that. I think Dotson is looking upwards, 5 years, 17 million per year. I mean, 5 years, 80 million, 5 years, 90 million total. I mean, these guys are going to get paid. And so I think this cap hit, this makes this whole thing interesting. Keep in mind, it's you don't have to go just straight up average annual value. I mean, look at this, these numbers just, grew in 2024, but if you look at him in 2023, it's not the same. This is the most Donald's been paid in his contract so far. So that's something to keep in mind. Then you look and you're like, okay, who else do you want to bring back? I personally don't think they bring back Fuller. I think Hopkins now has a chance to come back on the cheap, but he would have to be given a firm stance. Hey, okay, you will have playing time, because if I'm Bryson Hopkins and I wasn't utilized correctly, in my opinion, I don't think Bryson Hopkins was utilized much at all. Then, I need to have that peace of mind. If I'm coming back here, Tyler Higbee tore his ACL, Hunter Long is hurt. I need to know I'm going to have some sort of play. If it's just going to be the Davis Allen show, I'm not coming back. Good thing is Hopkins is relatively fresh. He's healthy, hasn't played a lot, but I would bring him back if I could. I don't know if the Rams will, so I'll hold off on that. I do think the Rams will be looking at bringing back Dotson and Witherspoon. As far as exclusive rights free agent, we can look at what is the 2023 ERFA. I'll get the actual number. Obviously, we won't have the number for 2024, but I can ballpark it. Try to get this as, clear as possible. So, okay, credited seasons. So based on that, all right, I'm just going to give it a little bit over $1 million. So ERFAs include Ronnie Rivers, Austin Trammell, who I think they'll both be brought back. You bring them both back at $1 million. And now you have 61 million in cap space because I do think they're going to want him back. Now, Alec Jackson's an interesting one. Restricted rights, free agent. Like, what does that mean? Well, teams can match his contract. And if they match and he signs, like the Rams can essentially lose him if they choose not to match, essentially. So Jackson can go and sign an offer sheet. If Jackson signs an offer sheet with another team, the Rams have like 3 or 4 days to match it. I'm going to say they do bring him back, get him about $5 million. We'll say a $5 million, and again, I'm ballparking this, guys, but say a $5 million cap hit. The interesting one here is Joseph Noteboom, who's at $20 million. So here's the thing with Joseph Noteboom, because they can't pay him that. It's just, that's ridiculous. So Joseph Noteboom here, okay, looking at his contract, this is his last year. So they have an out, but they would have a $15 million dead money hit. Now, how can they get out of this? Well, first off, you can release him pre-June 1st. If you do that, it saves you $5 million. It hits you with a $15 million dead cap penalty. If you trade him, same thing. A post-June 1st release, you now push the money over to 2025. So it's almost like a stretch provision where now, okay, you have $5 million in dead cap in 2024. You have $10 million in dead cap in 2025, but you save $15 million in 2024 cap savings. Now, the problem is you're saving $15 million in cap savings after June 1st. You've already made your signings. You've already signed your draft class. Does that really matter? That's really up to them. But if they did want to, if you guys remember the NBA stretch provision, if they wanted to stretch his contract out to 2025, like he wouldn't be on the roster, but his dead money would move over to 2025. Then you could do that. Theoretically, though, this is probably just a release. Saves him $5 million. And you see the dead money is still there, but you get the $5 million off the books. You have 61 million in cap. Okay. Now that we've done that, can't really restructure Havenstein or Higbee on the way we want to. You could always add void years and change things. It doesn't always work super well. So anyway, these are the highest paid guys. Brian Allen, would imagine this would be a cut. 29 years old. You're not paying $7 million to a backup center. So Brian Allen would likely be cut, restructured, something along those lines. Like re-signed at a lower value, but he's not getting that. $4 million saved. Now you have $65 million in cap space. So what are we working with, folks? Well, you have your quarterback. You have Kyron Williams at running back. Would like to get a second running back. Ronnie Rivers is back under the exclusive rights deal. So that's good. Cooper Kupp's restructured. You have $65 million still, and you cut Noteboom, you cut Allen, you brought back Alaric, you brought back Okello, you brought back Kevin Dotson. Again, I don't think they're going to get. I don't think they'll bring back Fuller. Maybe they will. Who knows? But they don't pay safeties, so I'm going to say they don't. Anyway, let's continue. So now here comes the interesting part here. Okay. This is the interesting part because of free agency, and I'm going to bring up on a separate tab here. You guys won't see it, but I'll bring up a separate tab here, and I am going to look at the top free agents per PFF in 2024. And the guy that stands out to me is Josh Allen of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, I do not know if the Jaguars are going to tag him or not. I feel like they're going to tag him, to be honest with you. I do. If they don't tag him, that's where this thing gets interesting. So I'm going to bring up in a separate tab here his market value, his calculated market value, according to Spotrac. And of course, they gave me Josh Allen on the Bills. Had to know that was coming, guys. So, yeah, Josh Allen, Jaguars contract. So now, based on what we've seen, Josh Allen will be a free agent. They can tag him. The market value that Spotrac is projecting for Josh Allen, as I wait, is $21.7 million. This is based on the comparable players TJ Watt, Rashawn Gary, Bradley Chubb, and Harold Landry. Okay. All around the same age, 25, 26 years old. Same kind of production there. Here's my thing. Okay. I think he's worth every penny. This might be the last year of Aaron Donald. You got to bring somebody in. You got to have an heir to the throne. In my opinion, Josh Allen, who's a top 6 in quarterback pressures this year for an edge. That's what they were missing in this game against Jared Goff and the Lions. When they pressured Jared Goff, by the way, 0 for 6, 0 yards. When they didn't, he was 22 of 22 for over 270 yards. So you have to put pressure on the quarterback. I thought Hoyt did a nice job. Do they bring back Hoyt? I don't know. Byron Young is somebody I'm excited to see his growth. They could very well draft an edge, but this is who I'm focusing on. His ability in the run game, his ability as a rusher, his ability as a cover guy. I don't know what the future looks like for the Rams defense. I don't know if they're going to change it up. I don't know what's going to happen, but Josh Allen could do it all. That's somebody I'm willing to pay, and they could probably definitely get his cap number down. So let's just say 17 million. Okay. Let's just do that. I mean, he's probably going to make over 20, but say cap hit goes down a little bit. Now you still have 48 million. Okay. Now let's just assume, since I think he's going to be tagged, how do they get Josh Allen? I'm going to say they give up a first round pick, maybe a first and a third. So, okay, now you lose your first and a third. You have a third round compensatory pick if you lose Raheem Morris. So that's something. But yeah, I think they're going to give up a first and a third for Josh Allen. In my opinion, I think they should consider that at least. Maybe a second and a third. But anyway, I do think the Jags are going to tag him. I do think the Rams will make a push for him. And if they do, they'll have to sign him. And if they sign him, this is what I see the number at. So let's move on. Rams got Josh Allen. Okay, great. Josh Allen, Byron Young rushing off the edge. You got Kobe Turner. You got Aaron Donald. Things are looking good, right? Really good upfront defense. You got two superstars. You got a star in the making. Byron Young ain't half bad. That is a good looking core group of guys up front. So now what happens? Well, you could go corner. You brought back Akello. Do you want to pair him with somebody? You could also go safety. Now, I think they're going to look in the draft for corner. I do. I don't think they're going to sign somebody. I could see a L'Jarius Sneed, but I think they're going to, I don't know what they're going to do. Okay. But this is what I would do. I would go after Tampa Bay Buccaneers safety, Antoine Winfield Jr., who might also get tagged, but I am going to just go under the assumption he doesn't get tagged. Right. So Antoine Winfield Jr., what is his market value? We'll look that up right now. And keep in mind, you have to have about 10 to 15 million left over for your draft if you have enough draft picks. Since they have a first rounder, like I would say 10 million to 12, but it's something to keep in mind. So let's just go to Antoine Winfield Jr. contract. Let's see if they have a market value on Spotrac. 18.5 million. So this sounds like a lot. 4 years, 74 million is the calculated market value. Okay. This is what I'll say. I think if Bates got 14, Bates got 16, and Derwin James got 19. Yeah, he's probably getting 18. Let's just say they lower it down to say 15 for the cap hit this year. You have 33 million. You have a potential all-pro level safety, all-pro caliber outside linebacker. And now this team is ready to fight. And this team is ready to compete for a Super Bowl. Okay? They're ahead of schedule, folks. Don't take what happened last night and be upset about it. I understand being upset, but don't think that this team is done. Their story's not written. Now they have 43 guys on the roster. Then I would go and grab one more, and let's see if they have a calculated market value for this guy. That's what we'll do. We'll check real quick and see if they have a calculated market for this guy, because I'll tell you right now, Ernest Jones, I'm going to just get to him in a sec here. But Ernest Jones is somebody to keep an eye on, because the Rams normally don't pay their linebackers. They normally don't. Corey Littleton was really good. You know, James Laurinaitis, obviously he got paid. But like currently, they've had some linebackers they don't normally pay. That's why Bobby Wagner, the signing of Bobby Wagner was very fascinating, because they just normally don't go in that direction. So that was surprising. But if they do decide to go in the direction and they do decide to pay their linebacker, then I think Ernest Jones is going to get an extension this offseason. And I think you can justify it. Best blitzing inside linebacker in the league, excellent in run support. He's got to get better in coverage, I would say, become a leader. I just think, that's what I think. But Ernest Jones currently does not have a market value calculated. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Frankie Louvu, who I know is a free agent. Not going to say they sign him, but I'm going to see if they have a calculated market value for Louvu, who's going to be a free agent. Probably one of the better linebackers upcoming, inside linebackers upcoming in the free agency pool. Now, do the Rams go crazy in free agency? Not really. But because of their patience and paying $75 million to guys that weren't on the roster last year, it allows them to get crazy here. It allows them to do something like this. Some restructures, some cuts, and now all of a sudden, you have a chance to grab players like this. And it's sunny LA, right? Who's not going to want to play for the Rams? Who's not going to want to play for Sean McVay? I mean, let's be honest here. So that's something to keep in mind. Unfortunately, Spotrack is kind of slow, but is what it is. So yeah, that's definitely something to keep in mind. Let's just say Ernest Jones. Let's say they pay Ernest Jones. And when they pay Ernest Jones, they extend him wherever he is. There he is. Let's get that extension up to, we'll say 10 million. And now you got 24 million. You've brought back Ernest Jones. You have an edge. You have a safety, right? You signed Kello back. You signed Dotson. You signed back Alec Jackson. So what do you do now with 24 million? Well, now I think you could go a little cheap here. And I think you could bring in, because for whatever reason, he's not getting enough respect. He's just not. But I would go over to Houston. You can watch him this weekend. Very, very good player. And I would go after Houston's linebacker, Blake Cashman. That's what I would do. And put Blake Cashman next to Ernest Jones. That is what I would do right there. Even though it's not coming up. Man, this thing is slow. Okay. Still slow. Not really sure what's going on. Okay. Maybe inside linebacker. Okay, outside linebacker. I know Cashman's a free agent. All right. Well, I guess he's not there. But he is a free agent, I know for a fact. So Cashman would save, maybe $5 million And Ernest Jones wouldn't have to be this high of a cap hit. You could go, 8 here in the first year. Maybe they go super low. Maybe they sign him to a deal and backload it. So his first year, it's a $4 million cap hit. Now you have $30 million. So in conclusion, what does this mean? Well, this is what it means. Okay. I'm going to bring up the Rams roster right now. And we're going to go over what this could look like. Now, is this 100% happening? Understand, no, it's not. We don't know what's going to happen. But this does give the Rams an opportunity to take that next step. They were patient. So now, Matthew Stafford at quarterback, Kyron Williams at running back, Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua, Demarcus Robinson, do they bring back? I didn't even think they gave him a shot to come back here. Where is he in all this? Okay. Anyone see Oh, there he is. Okay. I mean, let's just say, I don't know what's going on, guys. Let's just say they bring back Demarcus Robinson, right? So they maybe give him $4 million or something. Stafford, Kyron, Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua, Demarcus Robinson, Tutu Atwell, Ben Skoranek is still on the roster. Tyler Johnson, bring back Austin Trammell just to compete in the offseason. If he doesn't make the team, he doesn't make the team. Ronnie Rivers, exclusive rights free agent. Now, I wouldn't be against. Okay, there he is. Here we go. They could probably hit him with like a 2,500 or whatever, 2.5 million cap hit in this year. And then this is the intriguing one. Quarterback, does Carson Wentz come back? I'll say this. They could bring him back. They very well could. They'd have to pay him. Maybe the cap hits around $6 million. So now you're at $22 million. I think that's pretty damn good. That would be a good offseason. I don't think you can really complain if they go out and get Josh Allen, Antoine Winfield Jr. They extend Ernest Jones. They signed Demarcus Robinson back. They signed back Carson Wentz. They bring back Alec Jackson. They bring back Kelly Witherspoon and Kevin Dotson. I don't think you can complain about that. That's a really good offseason. But let's keep going here. Stafford, Kyron, Kupp, Nacua, Robinson, Atwell, Skoranek, Tyler Johnson. Okay. Wide receivers are all set. Maybe they draft one, but I like that. Tight end. This is interesting. I don't think that they are about to go out and sign another tight end. I don't think they're going to go and pay a big time tight end, even though Higbee got hurt. I think they could draft one. Higbee is in, I believe, the last year of his contract. Then you have Davis Allen, second to last year, I think maybe. Davis Allen would be your starter. Do you bring back Bryson Hopkins on the cheap? That's a decision to make. But going into 2024, 5th round pick at a Clemson, who I was a big fan of, Davis Allen would be your starting tight end. Simply put. Then on the offensive line, Alec Jackson comes back. Is he your left tackle? Is he the 6th man? You figure that out. Left guard, Steve Avila. Center, we cut Brian Allen. So it would just be Coleman Shelton, draft a center, Kevin Dotson, then Rob Havenstein. Best thing about that, you're pretty much keeping the whole offensive unit intact. I mean, Kirby Joseph screwed the whole chance of having Tyler Higbee to start the season, but 10 of 11 starters still on the roster the next year. That's not bad. Then on the defensive side, and we don't know if they're going to completely change defenses if Raheem leaves. We don't know if they'll operate the same. But up front, you got guys like Kobe Turner and Aaron Donald. Murchison will hit free agency. We'll see if they bring him back. Desjuan Johnson, I expect to be in a bigger role. Bobby Brown III. Jonah Williams, I believe he was in there. And again, I'm ballparking on these. I could be way off in the right way, like where I'm giving them too much credit, or I could be way lower than I need to be. But it's giving you an idea of what they could do. And I'm not saying they will do this. But on the defense, Jonah Williams, as well. And then outside linebacker would be Josh Allen, Byron Young, Nick Hampton, O'Shawn Mathis. Do they bring back Michael Hoyt? I don't know. Inside linebacker, Ernest Jones, Blake Cashman. You don't see it here, but just put Blake Cashman in there and be about 17 million. So Blake Cashman, Ernest Jones, and then cornerback, Akella Witherspoon, draft pick, Kobe Durant, Darion Kendrick, Sean Jolly. Do they bring back Duke Shelley or not? Trey Tomlinson. Then safety, Quentin Lake, Russ Yeast, Jason Taylor II, and then Antoine Winfield Jr. would obviously be starting. So look, I mean, that's where I'm at. That is where I'm at. I think if the Rams can do it, you bring in Josh Allen, Antoine Winfield Jr. You know why? Because if this is the new era of Rams football, signing a 25 and a 26-year-old who's arguably one of the best at the position is the right move. Demarcus Robinson signed to another 1-year deal. No issue with that. Signing Wentz to maybe a 2-year deal. No issue with that. Bringing back Alec Jackson. What I would say in the draft is say they have to trade away their second and the third. First round, I would allocate that to the left tackle spot. Get a left tackle in the future. Right? But I feel really good about this team. They're ahead of schedule. Yes. They found some diamonds in the rough. I mean, Puka Nacua, to have him for another 3 seasons before you technically have to pay him is insane to me. And he's not leaving, guys. I got news for you. Kupp got the contract. There's no way Puka Nacua is not getting a contract. He's not leaving. And I don't think he slows down. I don't think it's a sophomore slump next year. I really don't. I don't know. I'm looking forward to seeing how this turns out. Again, this is kind of a rough guesstimate, estimate, whatever you want to say. Just, really proud of the way this season ended for them. This season went. Obviously, I didn't love the ending. I think they were kind of screwed, if you ask me. But, credit to Les Snead, credit to Tony Pastors, credit to Sean McVay, credit to Kevin Demoff, and credit to Stan Kroenke. The fact that this is even possible is because they're a good organization that doesn't just sit there and cower away while other teams make moves. They're one of the teams making moves. And I know it killed them not to be able to make moves that they wanted to at the deadline this year. I know having it, going out and getting Chase Young might have helped them. They might have actually won the game last night if they had another pass rusher. But the fact of the matter is that they decided to go all in on a 2024, 2025, 2026 build. And so this year was kind of one of those, all right, well, we're going to just go about it. We don't have a lot of cap space. And we're paying off the credit card debt now. It'll benefit us down the road. That's how we're going to operate. And I think the Rams deserve a lot of credit to get to the playoffs the way they did, operating with the fact that they just didn't have a lot on, again, $75 million being paid to other players on other rosters. Just a credit to them. But hopefully we see Dotson back. Hopefully we see Akella Witherspoon back. Would I be against them signing another corner with Akella? Absolutely not. But I think this would be a nice direction to go in, because you don't want to just sign players that are big names. That's not what I'm doing here. If Josh Allen is available, he does everything. He doesn't just rush the passer. He's not an edge rusher. He's an edge defender. Then Antoine Winfield Jr. He's not just a safety. He's like a secondary weapon. Like, this guy can blitz. He can help in run support. He's a ball hawk. If the Rams want to focus on any mission this offseason, keep the offense very similar. You found something. Keep building upon it. Keep those guys together. If you can upgrade left tackle, do it. If you can upgrade center, do it. If you can, say it just works out and you get a T. Higgins or somebody like that in the wide receiver room instead of bringing back Demarcus Robinson, you do it. But for the most part, the offense is fine. It's the defense that you need to look at. So we'll see how it goes. But I'm a big fan of this offseason. The priority, the push is finding defensive players that can flip the game on its head. I want to find defensive players that can take away the football. I want the Rams to someday in the near future lead the league in takeaways. They were not even close this year. But just imagine if you could steal 4, 5, 6 more possessions for the offense. If you could have done that last night, you win the game. So that should be a heavy emphasis. That should be it. Simple as that. That's how I feel. If you disagree, I get it. I get it. But I think that they should put a heavy emphasis on getting guys that can force fumbles. You know, Josh Allen, force fumble, strip sack, things like that. But Antoine Winfield, he forces fumbles, great in run support. And then this is somebody that can help you, break the game open with his ball hawking ability. That's how I feel. And we'll see. Draft comes, probably going majority. I would say best player available. I think that's what the Rams would do, but we'll see. And again, to wrap this thing up, and I appreciate you guys watching. You can follow me at JK Bogan on all social media. And you can check out my YouTube channel, Jake Ellenbogen. But to wrap it up, we're going to watch Jordan Love this upcoming weekend against the 49ers. And I'll tell you right now, the way Jordan Love played against the Cowboys makes you wonder if drafting a quarterback in the first round and having him sit behind Stafford for the next 3 to 4 years might be the move. We'll see what ends up happening. We'll see if teams start going back in that direction. We'll see. But until next time, guys, appreciate you guys. You guys take care, and I'll see you guys soon. Later, folks.